Hello and welcome to UC Today. My name's David Dungay. I am here with Richard McPhee from Gamma. Welcome to the show, Richard. How are you?
Hi, David. I'm great. Thanks. Thanks for having me on today.
Fantastic. So today, Richard, we're going to be talking about the wonderful worlds of UCaaS and CCaaS and how those two worlds are currently colliding and what kind of benefits that's going to offer businesses in the future. But before we get into that conversation, can you give us a bit of an introduction to yourself and Gamma?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks. I've been in the UC and CCaaS industry for about 17 years now. Unfortunately, it does make me feel very old. I was previously the CTO at a company called Exactive, who are a Microsoft UC specialist, and I've joined as part of Gamma as an acquisition. Gamma are the one of the leading UK UCaaS and CCaaS managed comms providers. And for our enterprise customers, we really excel in enabling telephony on Microsoft Teams solutions, as well as our own in-house UCaaS built application called Horizon. And in CCaaS, we have got a leading Amazon Connect enablement practice through our acquisition of Mission Labs as well.
Fantastic. So, as we know, the last 2 years has brought an awful amount of change and evolution in our markets, especially when it comes to tech adoption as well. I wanted to get a bit of a sense of what you're seeing or what you've seen over the last 2 years when it comes to that tech adoption. How has that progressed? How are people making those sort of more longer term decisions about their technology stacks right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we work in a silo of only the customers that we work with, but certainly from that perspective, uh, we're starting to see a switch now to much more aggressive move to new technology and cloud-based comms. I mean, partly I think that that's due to a kind of strict tightening of spend to things like inflation and pricing pressures. So orgs are really being conscious about the technology spend they have and trying to right size their estates and consolidating applications across different workloads where they don't actually have to have duplicate and triplicate, where before it was perhaps not actually viewed that tightly. In terms of organizations when it comes to things like their networking requirements, we've seen that they're now entering a period of reflection. So organizations now that have come back to the office, they're trying to get a hold on what that new footprint looks like. And they're also looking at contractual end dates, etc., just to see how they can actually move forward. But what we are seeing in general is this trend to move away from MPLS networks and actually putting in much larger local access pipes, such as like even on 10 gig bearers, just to fully future proof themselves, and then overlaying an SD-WAN service layer as well. So there's definitely a trend to move towards that, but that's a slower one. However, for our cloud comms, uh, we're seeing now far less proof of concepts, which is what we used to see, which was small parts of the estate. Even during the pandemic, their organizations were spinning the tech up, but not fully adopting it. Now we're seeing more enterprises really adopt these things rapidly. So it's a much more decisive and much more purposeful change and adoption that we're seeing now.
Yeah, so it certainly is, and of course, customer experience or CCaaS has sort of risen to be that primary value generator for a lot of businesses as well. Interesting. So obviously, we've seen a lot of evolution. We are seeing people in the market talking about these two technologies come together. Which may or may not be a front of mind thing for everyone. But the hybrid working landscape, we were expecting the landscape to change, evolve even more. Unbelievably, even more from it already has. How do you see this landscape evolving over the next 3 to 5 years? And how's it going to impact those technology decisions that you sort of spoke about just then?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting one. For me, I've obviously been in the UC space for about 17 years, and hybrid working and flexible remote working, it's been around for a long time as of the technology sets. But what's always been the constant has been the culture and mindset towards embracing them as our organization. Obviously, we had a really large catalyst there, which has swung everything to the polar extreme of remote working. And now I think we're just going to be going through the next year or two to try and find that right balance here. So some organizations will want everyone back in. And I think there's going to be a real debate over the next few years and disagreements about what does actually constitute as hybrid working and whether or not the business will embrace it, whether they can from a HR perspective. But putting all of that aside, I think from a technology perspective, uh, this is something that you'll definitely have heard before, but businesses are really going to have to look at redefining what their meeting spaces are and also redefining them as well, just to help enable the better and greater collaboration spaces. Now, they're only going to be able to do that so far. And what I mean by that is, although we have a great set of uh, devices and applications available to us today, um, we don't have everything. So I think that this is going to really, over the next 5 years, 3 to 5 years, we're going to see a whole raft of different devices that are going to enable different types of functionality, because the software can only take it so far. I mean, if you can't go into a room and join a meeting seamlessly, people are going to give up. At this current moment in time, some meetings are actually far richer experiences by doing them remotely than walking into a meeting room, because everybody knows how to use the tech on the laptop, not in the room. So we're gonna have to see these things catch up with the with the software, so that the software can actually keep accelerating at the pace it is, but also be lit up by the tech, so it becomes almost ambient. The second, actually using the hardware can actually just fall into the background and not have to think about it, so you can join a meeting without any audio issues, etc., or video issues. That's when it's going to truly take off. Now, I guess the other factor that I have to mention is I do suppose there will be some sort of integration with the metaverse, so that participants can join. What that looks like, how practical it will be in the short to medium term, I'm really not sure, but I do think at least it's going to be attempted. And I guess it's going to be an interesting one to watch to see if it actually accelerates an adoption, or perhaps has just very niche use cases. But we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I think we're all waiting, quite excitedly waiting actually for the advent of the metaverse and what that means for for our various businesses all over the world. In fact, so fantastic. So before I let you go, Richard, I want to give some top tips to our viewers. Those people who are out there. They're wondering how to get the most out of their UCaaS and CCaaS technology, whether that's together or perhaps separately. How what kind of tips have you got for businesses wanting to use those technologies more effectively?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, for the people who haven't already done it, it's some quite basic tips, and that is just go right back to the start. I know that we've just gone through a very turbulent period, and it may feel like we're very, very far ahead with your implementation. Uh, but I would say let's go right back to that start and revisit what your desired employee experience should look like moving forward, what your desired customer experience should be. Start from that blank page and work with the stakeholders across the business and get full agreement and alignment about what you should be doing, not what you are doing, and trying to do incremental gains here. And the other biggest thing that you can possibly do is take some feedback from the people who are using it in your business. Try to find out, what are their top blockers and annoyances. What's they finding really great about it, to just inspire you to do more and do it differently. I mean, simple examples would be asking them really basic questions like, do you find hybrid meetings beneficial? Get to know your actual consumer base here in terms of who's using the technologies, and if they're not finding it beneficial, why not? What's causing the problems? Is it a lack of device choice? Is it the spaces that they have available in the office? And are the meeting rooms that you're using well equipped? Now, it might be that the feedback you get devices and you actually have all these things in place, but that there's a really great saying that I like, which is that feelings are not reality, but they are real. So, if someone's feeling like these things are missing and not in place, although that may be contrary to what is actually in place, there's truth in it. So just work with them to help point them and re-signpost all of this information, dig it back out, because that's how you get the best results possible.
Great. Well, look, Richard, I think that's a really great place to end today's discussion. Thank you so much
Thanks
for joining
having
me.
It's been great.
And thank you for watching. You've been watching me, David Dungay, on UC Today. If you like today's conversation, please give us a like and a share on social media. That's it from me. See you next time.